Welcome to Factora's October community event. Did y'all know that October is not just spooky month, it is also National Financial Planning Month. So it's always good to be talking about your money year round, but it's extra good to be doing it in October. So if you can find your way over to the chat, I would just like to know where you're calling in from today. And as you go and do that, ooh, Reno. Ooh, London. Oh, you're flooding in. Okay, it's moving too fast to read, but New Orleans, Sacramento, Panama, Playa del Carmen. I wish I was with you. Okay, I just wanted to welcome all of our Factora members who are here today after attending the Well Circle last night. We appreciate you. And anyone new to Factora events. So community events like this one at Factora, we do them because we are so dedicated to reaching and teaching more women about personal finance education, and obviously having a job and making income and negotiating your salary for more contributes a lot to that income you can build wealth with. So if you've never heard of Factora before, we are on a mission to lead 1 million women to 1 million in net worth. We do this through our 12-week live online investing course and community called the Well Circle. As I just mentioned, all the fall participants who are going through it hung out with me last night talking about their money. And during the Well Circle, we are teaching women how to invest with confidence in the stock market, real estate, and business, which are the 3 asset classes we can use to build our wealth with. And whether you are just starting out or already investing, it's important to have all the tools you need to be consistently multiplying your net worth. So if you're interested in learning more about Factora, the Well Circles, then you can, we'll drop a link in the chat and you can check it out, or even join the wait list for the spring cohort. Okay, let's get on to today's presentation because it is going to be a good one. How to stand out in a competitive job market and increase your salary. Whether or not you're looking for a new role, it's important to be negotiating pay rises on a regular basis. And so actually, if we could launch a poll, I'd be interested to know how many of you are actively looking for a job right now. Go ahead and get those answers in. You guys heard about this September surge? I know we're in October, but it seems like it's going into October. Okay, we got 3/4 of you actively job seeking right now. So glad to have you here. And then let's launch one more poll. I just want to know who is preparing for a salary negotiation. Again, it could be at your current position or just because you're looking for a new role. All right, get those answers in. About the same. Okay. Well, I appreciate the 1/4 of you who are doing neither and are still here. It's always good to learn some good tips and tricks along the way. So our presenters for the day are going to be Kelsey, who is the co-founder of Lady Bird Talent. That is a company working to put 1,000 women in tech leadership roles. Kelsey is super passionate about community building and working towards gender equality and equity in startups. She also took a Well Circle a few years back, so maybe you'll get a little look into her personal wealth building experience. And then we also have Nikita, who is the co-founder of CareerFlow.ai, which is a super cool tool that is helping job seekers land dream jobs. And you're going to get to see that tool in action today. She's also previously been a recruiter at Uber and Amazon. She's been featured all over the place, Forbes, Business Insider, TEDx. So before I hand it off to our incredible presenters, just a quick piece of housekeeping. We want to make sure that we leave time at the end for Q&A. So there's actually a Q&A feature instead of writing your questions in the chat, if you can please use the Q&A feature to ask your questions. That way we can try and prioritize as many at the end. And I will go ahead and kick it over to Kelsey to get us started.
Thank you, y'all. I am so grateful and excited to be here. The piece of the content I'm kind of tasked with today is just really getting you up to speed to make sure you're coming with data when it comes time for those tough salary conversations. So a little bit about me and my background. I am a Factora alumna. I had to look up how to spell alumna today. So I did the Well Circle in 2020. I was in the spring program. So as the global pandemic hit, so I was going through a lot of things at that moment. And Factora was definitely a huge shift for me in the realities of how I wanted my career to unfold. And so what happened during that, there was a really awesome conversation with another alum, Renee. She was telling us about her net worth and how she's able to hit this huge milestone. And we were actually coworkers at the time. And because we're having this really raw, open conversation about how much money she was making, it was like the black and white data just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like she was had opportunity to earn over 3 times my take-home pay. And so that moment of like, okay, well, I'm like busting it. I worked in event marketing and loved what I did. I ran all of our trade shows and did a lot of things to really connect people to the product. But I was burning the candle at both ends. I was exhausted. And then having that realization of like, oh, the people I'm traveling to these trade shows with are making 3 times as much as me, even though I'm staying up all night to prep. And it was just a good eye-opening experience that really encouraged me to sign up for the Well Circle and get serious about like, what does money mean in my life and how can I take ownership of it? And truth be told, because of that time spent, was able to build the savings to be able to go off on my own and do work that I am so truly passionate about, which is what we're doing at Lady Bird Talent. So as Allegra mentioned, we are all about getting women in charge of their own careers. So typically what that looks like for us is connecting them to early stage startups. I'm a startup junkie through and through. I love it. I think it's so fun. I think there's just such growth opportunity there. And so those are some of our favorite hiring partners to work with. And so the way we do things a little bit differently is we're community first. So really there's a lot of education components. We do conversations similar to the one we're having today. We have training cohorts where you can go through and learn different skills of navigating your career. And just overall, the community's really into supporting each other, lifting each other up, and making sure that we're like essentially fighting the patriarchy as a whole, right? It's like, how do we make this more equitable for everybody involved, whether that be women allies or our hiring partners? So I'd love to get y'all more involved. We'll drop some links on that. One of the pieces that we do that we're super passionate about as a team is called Hire Women Week. And I'm actually goosebumps excited today because both Nikita and Allegra have been Hire Women Week speakers. And so this is just a great full circle moment for me in a lot of ways. But that event will be coming up in January, where we'll have a lot of these conversations really about what's happening for women in the workplace. So on that note, next slide, please, Liz. This piece of information came out in September, and it's some of my favorite research that we've seen drop this year, to be honest. And really what they're debunking is this: we've all heard like women don't negotiate. You know, it's like the reason they don't get more is because they don't ask for it. And these researchers are here to tell you it is not your fault. Actually, statistically, women are asking for more. They are negotiating. And really the odds are still sadly against us. So next slide. This is just a quick stat to kind of see in this group. And this was an educated group. People had been to business school. And the question was just like, did you negotiate your job offer upon receiving it? And actually a higher number of women from that pool said they did negotiate compared to men. So really this whole idea of we're not asking or it's our fault, I really want that narrative to shift. And I want to be thinking about how can we actually be taking this in the reins of our own earning and having these conversations. So this stat comes from US Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there's a lot of different ways to slice this data, but essentially women are still making less money than men. And I think there's a lot of great learning that the Factora team could educate us on, really about like how are we using the money we're earning, but we still have an uphill battle here to fight of getting that into be an equal earning. Lots of nuance to that, lots of ways to, like I said, slice this data, but it doesn't really get better with more education. That's one thing we see a lot of women in the Lady Bird Talent community come to us. They're like, well, I'm just going to get this certification and I'm going to go back and I'm going to get this master's degree and I'm going to do night school, and just always feeling like we have to get one more thing to be qualified. But then here you look at this MBA data, and actually it starts out, you get this little bump where you're earning more, but then after 10 years, you're actually earning there's a bigger gap with your peers than if you hadn't gone down the MBA track. So it's just a really interesting thing to keep in mind as we're having these conversations. And so we can go on to the next slide here. Actually, I should have called out this. If you really dig into the research, it's really appalling. It gets so much worse for women of color. So really, what does this gross reality mean for us? It just means we need to come prepared. It means that, like, if the odds aren't in our favor, we need to take that accountability for ourselves. I don't want you to be one of the stat. I want you to be the outliers until that becomes the norm. So how can we actually go into these conversations ready to advocate for ourselves, ready to get what we deserve? The first step, I bet you've heard this term, but it's know your market comps. And what that really means is, like, how much is this job worth holistically, like zooming out across the industry, how much is this job worth? And so what that means is, like, hiring, like an employer side, it means we've got to figure out how much we're going to pay you. We're going to go do our research and see, well, what's the going rate for this? So the kind of big buckets I really want to encourage you to do is go to databases. So our marketers on the call are going to know this is a piece of content that performs very well, because we're all very interested to see how much money we should be making and other people are making. It feels like so secretive and mysterious. So a lot of people are doing great aggregation of salaries across industries. And so here's just like some examples of ones we send people to. They get super niche down. If you start with PAVE at the top, it's very startup oriented, very tech oriented, and they're cool because they also talk about equity compensation. But then you get all the way down to QuotaPath at the bottom, just released one, and it's really how much are sales professionals getting compensated, because their comp structure is so different. So you're going to have to do your own legwork on what database is right for you and your specialization and your industry. But the information is becoming so much more accessible and out there thanks to the good old internet. So please, that's the first step. Find a database, find out how much you should be paying. If you don't know, ask somebody who's in the field you want to be in. Ask them where they get this information. The next news is also, I think, huge step in the right direction, is that it's becoming a legal requirement for a lot of locations to include salaries and job postings. So I hear a lot of candidate feedback that this can get frustrating because it can be huge ranges. And I understand that. You're like, where do I fall in that range? So my advice on this is really thinking about, these are multiple data sets, and how can I personally aggregate that data to make my case? So I live in Austin, which I love, but that doesn't mean I should be earning the exact same necessarily as maybe somebody in the Bay Area. That's going to be a higher pay range, or somebody in New York City might get a higher pay range, depending on how the company structures it. So as an individual, your job is to go out and do that research and see state by state what they're paying in the states that have that listed. And so that way you can take all that information back to help build your case. The third one, I think, is the easiest to type, but the hardest to do, is just ask, y'all. I think, like that conversation I shared for my very first Factora touch point, it's like, if you don't know what other people are making, then you don't know when you're getting passed over for huge quantities, right? And so if you find these people you can have these conversations with, a lot more people are excited about it and open to it. And you have a right, like, it's your legal right to go out there and ask that. We learned there's like some very specific functions in government that aren't allowed to, but sweeping majority of us have the right to go and ask and talk openly about our compensation. This tip, I was talking to some other Factora grads about, like, what would you want to hear in this conversation? And I love this one. She's like, I only had the guts to talk to other women on my team at the beginning. And then the moment I talked to another guy on the team, he was making 25K more than all of us. And so just a good reminder, if we're only talking to our peers, we're only getting biased information, right? So it can be scary, but push yourself out of that and think diversity when you're getting that information. Are you talking to other pools? Are you all making 25K more than someone else? That's another data set that we need to be focusing on and bringing justice there. So ask. The last person I would really encourage you to ask is your recruiter. My mother, she's a nurse, and that lady, she could talk about bodies like they're nothing, like nothing grosses her out, nothing creeps her out. I think recruiters are the same way with salary. It's just such a data point to us. The emotion is gone. So it's so easy for us to be like, no, you should be making 270, or no, that's only a 130 job. Like, it's just very easy for us to think in that sort of framework based on the company. And so I think I would not get emotional about this conversation. This is data that we're talking about. It's not your worth. It's not you as an individual. It's like, what's the rate of this function? The last one I think is the hardest, is really understanding what rules is the employer playing by. what data set did they use? I remember there was one job I was like ready to make more money, and they used a set of data that just had my role ranked a lot lower than everyone else I knew in the role. So it's like, what data set they're pulling salaries from, sometimes your manager's hands will be tied to that. So you need to understand that. Will they do a cost of living adjustment? Are you going to make the same in Kansas that you'd make in California? Do they have frameworks in place for these? These are the kinds of questions you can be asking an employer to try to learn more about, like, how are they approaching compensation? Like I said, I love startups. They might not have as sophisticated of a comp plan in place, but there's a lot of companies pushing to a lot more transparent and a lot clearer laid out compensation policies. So just start the conversation and ask, and they should be able to justify and defend their answers for you. So on to the next slide. This one comes from our friends over at Salary Transparent Street. They have a map where you can see state by state. Like, does my state require that you see it? And a lot of us are in the gray in there. We're not, there is no requirement, but you can still look at job postings from those other states. You could see what they're doing. So when I say go aggregate the data, go to these green states and see what they're paying, bring that information and see where you think you land in the middle of that as you're building your case. The best leverage you're going to have is another offer. And I think a lot of times we think we have to go out and get 2 job offers so we can make the job process hurry along. But the one you have is a very valid offer to compare to, right? So the most recent job or the job you're currently in, that's going to be a good bar of comparison as well. So in the link tree in the top corner, you'll be able to download this. It's like linked to one of our blogs about like things we recommend. This actually also inspired by another Factora grad. So we worked on this together when she got a couple job offers, and we kind of turned it into a resource for our community at large. This resource has so you can go in and really think about all the different ways you're compensated. For example, if there's a big bonus pool, but you have to pay for your health insurance out of pocket. Does that actually level out? Is this a better job offer? So that there's just so much to compensation besides just your base salary. So think of it holistically. Even if you're not batting an offer right now, I feel like this spreadsheet's a good way to kind of think about all the different ways you're compensated. If we're missing something, please let us know. We love improving these things all the time. And then at the bottom, we have a little bit of subjective. So it's like, are you happy with the OTE? Are you happy with the PTO policy? Are you happy with the culture benefits? Things along those lines. So check that out. If you have any feedback, would love to hear it. But I hope it's helpful as you're approaching multiple offers. It is true from my experience, and I'd love to hear Nikita's opinion too. But if you have multiple offers, that's a great leverage point to help you in those negotiations. So, thinking about advancement, I think a lot of us are like, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to do so great and everyone's going to love it and they're going to give me a promotion and all the money and I'm just going to climb all the way to the top. So currently we meet a lot of women who are here. And then next slide, please. Turns out they're killing it. They're doing amazing there. So therefore they should get more money, right? So next slide. And they think, okay, I'll just bump up a level, but really, like, is that your only next move? Go ahead and go to the next one, please. A lot of us think like, I'm just going to do a really good job and I'm going to get promoted, but the times are changing, y'all. On an average salary increase, if you want to switch companies, that increase could be 14.8% of a salary increase. And so the next stat is really about wage growth. So talking about like, how's my money keeping up with inflation, right? If you switch jobs, you're able to do 5.8% on average. But if you stay in your current job, it's only 3.1%. So it's like you could stay put and get a little bump, or you could take a lateral move doing the same function in another company and get a 5.8 bump. And it's data, right? You're one of the inputs to this. Like this is, I'm not promising you a 5.8% increase, but this is like the overall trends we see, that sometimes moving to a company is a better way to get an increase. I thought this was interesting in that, because we talked a little bit about differences for genders here, but women actually receive a little bit more wage growth when they change jobs than men. I don't see that stat in our favor very often. So I thought it was interesting to call out. So go to the next one. The only thing I want to call out is a lot of people are so eager to get that new title, climb that ladder. But if you jump too fast, you might miss some opportunities to negotiate your raises. I talked to a lot of executives and managers that get stuck where they're people, they just want to get that title. They just want to be the VP, or they just want to become the director. And what they really are missing out on is they could have had a raise 6 months later, they could have become the director, but gotten a way bigger percentage-based raise. And so think about, do you actually want a raise or a promotion, new responsibilities? what is it you're actually vying for, and think long-term about increasing your income. Next slide, please. I think we all have different strengths. One of the Factora grads I'm still really close with, she is just fierce and she can just go out there and say what she deserves and she gets it. And then we did an interview for Lady Bird Talent and she's like, oh, I cry every time I have to talk to somebody about money. She's like, every time I talk to my manager about this, I cry. And I was like, I think you're so tough and so like steely. I was just shocked. So we put together resources. This is just some like prompts to get you thinking about how to have these conversations. It's like, how do I ask my coworker how much money she makes? How do I tell my manager the next one-on-ones we want to talk? So resource for you there, also in that link tree, feel free to download, but it's just some prompts to get your wheels spinning about these tough conversations. Next slide. Job search strategically. We use this as a funnel with our people that are looking for work, and it's think about what parts of the job are essential to you and what parts are you're like, okay, well, that'd be great, but like I would take that job. So let me give you an example. I'm not walking through this very articulately. Next slide. Vital. I know a lot of people right now, a lot of us have been out of work for months at this point. Like a paycheck is very important. And so for Vital, it's like, okay, they pay me at least to cover my life expenses. I can keep my emergency fund full, and I am pregnant, so I am gonna have to have some parental leave. That might be your essential. You're only gonna apply jobs have that. But then your next step, it's like, okay, well, I would really like to switch into tech because I want to increase my earning potential. And that'd be great. So I'm also going to like really kind of majority of my jobs are going to be helping me get into that new industry. The next one's like, well, I really want to be making X amount of salary and I want a professional development stipend. So this is personal. This is going to be your preferences, but I really encourage you to start your pool broad and get your needs met, but then narrow down into the things you're most excited about as you're going through that job search strategy. So with that, what jobs are you applying for and how are you standing out? I'm going to hand it over to Nikita.
Thank you, Kelsey. I think this was amazing. I hope everyone, because I was looking at the chat while she was speaking and the chat is flooded with comments and questions. So I hope it was very, very helpful. I just wanted to add one quick thing before I start talking about the job search phase. As a recruiter, when I used to call the candidates, and especially women candidates, don't tell the compensation in the first call. And this is a very, very common mistake everyone do is when you get a call from a recruiter, we get super pumped, excited, and we actually forget that we have not done our homework. Like Kelsey mentioned, there are so many websites, including levels.fi, Glassdoor, and multiple others. We just share the number, and when you're sharing the number in the first call, as a recruiter, I will write it down. And if I'm writing it down, which I will do, then if you even try to negotiate it down the line after your interview process, then we already have the compensation. So try to not share the number in the first call. Try to just tell the recruiter that, hey, I don't have a number right now. Go back, do the research, and at least go to through 2-3 resources, which Kelsey has shared. I think the slides will be shared after that. And try to maintain the number in terms of in a range form. Don't share 60,000, 70,000, 80,000. Share a range so that it's easier for you and also internally the team to negotiate and obviously come with a number. I hope that was helpful. I think I can start with my introduction. So hi everyone, this is Nikita, one of the co-founders of careerflow.ai. My background has been into software engineering and data analytics, and 3 years back I turned into a technical recruiter. I work for companies like Uber and Amazon. Because I work for digital marketing agencies, so I'm coming from a lot of marketing background. I'm also a content creator and influencer on LinkedIn with 218K plus social media followers, and do share a lot of content, tips and tricks on my LinkedIn content. So if anyone would like to go through it, feel free to follow and share the advice which I share on LinkedIn specifically. I have got multiple interview calls through LinkedIn even without applying. So I wanted to share some hacks today. I think I call them hacks because not a lot of us know, and especially being a woman in tech, I have always been in a space where I am walking in and there are 10 more males just sitting around the round table, and I'm the one going in and doing the interview. So I just wanted to share those tips and tricks here and wanted to advise people what are the things we can go. Next slide. Okay, awesome. So job search process, I just wanted to summarize it, and this is how the job search process overall looks like. So when I was a job seeker, I always used to feel overwhelmed, tiring, and always feel that, okay, why I'm getting rejected, why I'm getting ghosted, why I'm not getting an interview call. But when I became a recruiter and became a hiring manager, then I was able to connect the dots that this is how companies hire a candidate. This is how the hiring process works. So it starts with the candidate shortlisting, which is like you apply through any website, including LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, or directly applying to the career page. Then if your resume or your profile is getting picked up, it goes to the interview process. You clear the interviews, and the next step is you get the offer, you negotiate your salary, and hooray, you are offered and you join the company. So this is a very like simple process, but there are so many steps in this three step process that as a recruiter, when I was hiring, then I came to know in detail that this is what is happening on the other side of the table, which I would like to share today. Next. So we will start with some resume tips, and I think after that, obviously LinkedIn and then networking, because I believe networking is very, very important when you're looking for jobs as a job seeker. Resume is something which everyone thinks of as one piece of paper, and not everyone really take it very seriously. In fact, being a recruiter, I've seen candidates applying with the same resume for multiple different roles. So there are multiple tips which I would like to go ahead and share it. But before that, we like to talk about resume optimization. So why do we need to do the resume optimization, or why we need to optimize to the job descriptions we are applying for? First and most important thing is applicant tracking system. I don't know if everyone knows about ATS. So every company, whether they're a big tech company or startups or small level companies, they have a software which they use it. So when you are applying, it goes first through the software, which is applicant tracking system. And when the applicant tracking system passes it, like it passes through that, then it goes to a human recruiter like me. So you need to make sure that your resume is ATS compliant and it has everything, whatever is required to pass through that software. And to pass through that software, there are multiple things which I will be sharing in the next slide, but this is the first important thing which need to be there as part of the process. And it's used because companies want to reduce the manual effort of a recruiter like me. Then the keywords, a lot of people now will ask me, what are the keywords, how to find keywords, why they are used. So keywords are in the job description. So you have to go through it again and again, read through it again and again. And every job description has some keywords. Based on those keywords, the resumes or profiles are picked up. And based on that, me as a recruiter will decide that, okay, this resume matches with the job description, and then we need to pass it to the next step. Recruiters are generally, like, I don't want to say this, but maximum of them are non-technical. So a lot of them, like, their mind and our eyes goes like with the perspective of the technical words being given. And because we talk to the hiring manager daily, so for example, if we are hiring for a software engineer or front-end engineering role, so if the React is one of the requirements, we will look for React in your work experience, in your resume. And if it's not there, then obviously for us, it's a simple thing that, okay, we will pass it to the rejection pile. So try to understand from that perspective that when recruiters are not that technical, they don't understand everything to that level of the technicality of the job description, then you need to make sure that you add those things which are required. Need for optimizing the job role. I think that is also very, very important, because as I said in the starting, if you're not optimizing your profile, your resume with every role you're applying for, and by optimization, what I mean is that you should not match 100%, because people might think that resume matching should be there for 100%. No, even if it's matching 60-70%, then also you're good. You are feel free to apply, and it's good that you will get interview call for sure, for the at least with the recruiter. Definitely, if you are optimizing your resume, your chances will increase. You will get interview calls. If you're not optimizing, if you're not just working on it, it's not matching with the job description, chances are very less that you will get an interview call. There are some pieces of a successful resume, which I just wanted to highlight. Some of them are listed here, which includes contact information. Like if you're not sharing your phone number, your email, don't share your home address, because that's not required. You can just state like share like Seattle and US, like you don't have to share like the exact address of your home. Then the quick summary about that, okay, this is what your experience was, this is currently you're doing, and this is what you're looking for. Then skills section is very important in terms of sharing your hard skill, soft skill. Education section, if you're a recent grad, This is very important because if we are hiring as a recruiter, if I'm hiring for a new grad, I will look for your education section because I am expecting that you have recently graduated. Work experience section. So if people who are having work experience, for them, the work experience section matters a lot. So rather than adding your education section at the top, start with your experience section because you are a professional, you're not a new grad. And then you add about your personal projects or maybe your internships or freelancing work or anything. And then comes your education section. So try to make sure that, like, just to give you also why I'm sharing these tips. So as a recruiter, we take 6 to 10 seconds, like I'm just repeating that, 6 to 10 seconds to pass a resume to the next step, which is an acceptance, or to the rejection pile. So 6 to 10 seconds, which is a very small time, our eyes will go like this through the whole resume, and we want to catch the things what we are looking based on the job description. So try to make sure that you're optimizing, and within few seconds your resume is catching the eyes of the recruiter to give you an interview call. Then projects, leadership, voluntary experience if you have, and then impact. I think this is something very, very important. So if you're just writing the sentence like, I have developed a website, obviously as a developer, you will develop a website. But instead of writing developing a website, if you have written developed a website, and because of my work or because of developing the website, it has helped in increasing the conversion rate by 30%. So you are showing and completing the whole sentence by showing an impact and adding a number, and that will help when you go into the interview process as well, because your answers will also come out like that only. It won't just come that, okay, I was developing a website and that was my day-to-day job. So try to add as much impact as you can. Don't overwhelm your resume as well. Like if I'm saying, don't go back and just every sentence or every word is having a number, don't do that as well, but try to make an impact so that it's easy for a recruiter to pick your resume versus 99 candidates who are applying for the same role and not showing the impact. So I wanted to clearly show some of the resumes which clearly get rejected very easily. And there are some reasons, like on the right side, you can see this is a example of a rejected resumes. The photograph is not needed. Like if folks are applying the resumes with adding their photographs, with color graphics, with like a lot of people maybe from UX, UI design, they might say that we want to show creativity. Yes, you can show creativity, but have two versions of the resume. So for the creative side version of the resume, use that for the referral side of it. Like when you are sending resumes via email, via messages, you can use that one. But for the simple one, which you are applying directly through websites or company portals, use the simple black and white boring resumes because that is what is required, and it also helps passing through the applicant tracking system. Images, icons, photos are not required. Multiple pages, columns, try to, because as I said, 6 to 10 seconds. So I don't have time as a recruiter to go to 10 to 15 pages long resume. Try to make it 1 pages. So if you have experience less than 7 years or equal to 7 years, try to recommend it to have 1 page resume. If you have experience more than 7 years, 2 pages is fine. If you are from a research background, any number of pages, or PhD background, any number of pages of resumes are fine. But try to understand that if you have less than 7 years, please, like, it's really not justifiable that you are exceeding your 1 page resume. Then obviously unnecessary information, gender, we are not going to shortlist your resume because you're a female or a male. So it's not required. It's not like you don't have to add it. Your father's birthday, 10th marks, marital status, married or not, we don't care about it. Age, it's not required. Spelling mistake, grammar mistakes, please make sure that you are not doing that. You go through it again and again, maybe get it proofread it from someone, because I've seen resumes in which spelling mistakes are there, grammar mistakes are there. Lack of useful information. So if you are not sharing about, like, a lot of times we undervalue ourselves. We, like, in fact, yesterday I was in another webinar and someone asked me this question that I have done this particular project, should I add it or not? And I'm like, why you're not adding it? The person is like, I feel that it's not important. So sometimes we ourselves undervalue ourselves. So don't do that. Take a step back, write your every experience and think about it, like whether it's making sense or not, and then put it out like with the perspective that, okay, should it be there or should it not be there? Then obviously colorful themes, I don't think so that's required. We really want to see the impact or things written in the resume rather than seeing the colors in the resume. And obviously the last thing, it should not look like a matrimonial profile. Like, just keep it simple. These are some of the examples I can share of the resumes of people whom CareerFlow has helped in getting shortlisting in Fang Plus companies, big tech companies. They are, as you can see, they are simple one-page resumes, simple template, 8 years compliant, and if you just check out careerflow.ai, we do have an 8 years latex template as well, which is our in-house template we created. So if anyone wants to use that as well, feel free to use that, because simple resumes are something which we scan and quickly, as you can see, even I have bolded some pieces, like we have bolded pieces in these resumes. These are the impact which is being tried to show that using this particular thing, this impact was being made on the company. Now let's talk about LinkedIn profile. I think LinkedIn is something which is very, very, like I'm a strong advocate of LinkedIn. And one of the reasons is because I've got multiple interview calls directly through recruiter reaching out to me in my inbox through LinkedIn. And it can happen with you as well. If it's not happening, then definitely your LinkedIn profile is not picking up. It don't have the right keywords. So as a recruiter, we use LinkedIn Recruiter 24/7 when we are working as a recruiter to find candidates. And we use Boolean keywords, Boolean searches to find candidates. And I'm happy if I can share the next slide. Yep. So LinkedIn is something which is being used. If it's not used, like, I mean, I want to share quickly why LinkedIn, and like a lot of people might think that resume is more important, but I think resume and LinkedIn profile goes hand in hand. So if you're really working on your resume, you should work on your LinkedIn profile, and what goes in resume should reflect in LinkedIn profile, and what goes in LinkedIn profile should get reflected in your resume. Just don't like put something else in resume and something else in LinkedIn profile, because I've seen that as well in the candidate's profile. LinkedIn is important because it helps you to build your personal brand. It helps you to build your network. You can vouch, like anyone in your network, you can go back and rely on them for your job search. They can refer you. They can directly come and give you a job of, like, I mean, a job opportunity, at least in an interview call, and be like, hey, I saw your profile and you are connected with me. And this has happened with me in the past. So I'm sharing all those details. Make sure, as I said, when you're working on your resume, it goes hand in hand with LinkedIn, because a lot of times it happens that the resume candidate submitted, and if you add the LinkedIn profile link, which you should in your resume, and when we click on it, the LinkedIn profile looks something else, or there's something else written. So do that and try to showcase your LinkedIn profile as your own story, as your personal brand. Don't copy paste someone else's profile or someone else's resume. And the reason why I'm again mentioning this, because as a recruiter, I've seen people doing that. So don't do that, because if you're doing it, it's not going to help you in either way. You might get an interview call, but you won't get a job offer. I think next slide. Yeah. So in CareerFlow, we do have a LinkedIn profile optimization Chrome extension. I would like to help everyone out there who are looking for job opportunities. Maybe you can download this Chrome extension. It will help you to tell you that from top to bottom, cover each and every section of the LinkedIn profile in detail, and covers that why this section is needed, what need to be there, and how you can update it. And job seekers who have used our Chrome extension overnight, like within 24 hours to 48 hours, they have came back and told us that their search appearances, I don't know if people again know this or not, but there's a dashboard, analytics dashboard, and there's a search engine, like search appearances option. And using our Chrome extension, people have got like more interview calls, more recruiters reaching out, more people hiring. And I think this particular, like in last few days, I don't know if people have been actively using on LinkedIn or not, but I've seen a lot of job opportunities have opened. Like Meta is crazily hiring. There are multiple startups which are crazily hiring. So definitely there are a lot of companies hiring. You just have to stand out in the crowd, and you need to optimize your profile so that recruiters can directly reach out, and add those Boolean keywords. Like a hack also I can share is, like, I don't know, again, people know headline section, which is right below your profile photo. If you add the keywords there, then that is one place you should add. And then there's a summary section, about section. That is another place where you should add keywords. And by keywords, what I mean is, don't add words like open to work, because open to work is not a keyword. There's a particular section in LinkedIn profile and you can add that in that, but don't waste your space in about section and your headline to add open to work. You can actually add words like, for example, if you're looking for financial analyst, so you can add financial analyst. If you're looking for software engineer. If you are an aspiring person, like you are looking for a career change, you are not in that particular role right now, then you can add the word like aspiring product manager or aspiring project manager. And this will help us as a recruiter to understand that though you were not working as a product manager, but now you are looking for a product manager role, and that is a keyword. So these are the few tips I can share around LinkedIn. I think the benefits, which again, I just quickly want to share about LinkedIn profile specifically, you will get 40x more job opportunities, like more recruiters, hiring manager reaching out, and LinkedIn Recruiter is used by a lot of people. Like, I mean, every company is using LinkedIn Recruiter to find candidates. 2.5x more search appearances if you are updating it in the right way. Definitely your profile score will increase, and your score should be 100% and your profile should be 5-star. And by that, what I mean is like every section of your LinkedIn profile should be completed to the level that, like, there's nothing like, for example, in education section, you just don't have to write the degree and the college name, the university name. You have to also add in extra things what you're looking for. So when as a recruiter, I'm looking at your profile, I have all the information I needed, rather than me pinging you and be like, hey, can you give me this information? You are sharing everything on the profile. Then every section of the profile should be checklisted and you're adding everything. Make sure the links are working. Like if you're adding some portfolio link, if you're adding any GitHub link or any other link, make sure that link is working, because in the past I've seen that people have added the links but they give errors. So try to make sure that you're adding that. Your network is your net worth. I think that is like a very famous statement as well. So try to make sure that whoever is within your network, they are the people who always want to support you, and they are the people who always want to kind of like help you. And not every time will be same. Like first COVID happened, then layoffs happened, and you don't know what will happen tomorrow. So try to make sure that you are really, really active. And also one more thing, which I think a lot of people might not know, if you are not active from last 90 days, 90 days on LinkedIn, LinkedIn has this tendency that it will push your profile down, and they will do it. They will stop showing your profile. So if you're not doing any activity, if you're not interacting with people, if you're not commenting, liking, or any sort of activity, I'm not talking about in general about posting, anything, LinkedIn will stop pushing your profile. And when it stop pushing your profile as a recruiter, it won't pop up in my search engine. So last 90 days, make sure that you are really active on LinkedIn. And by activity, I don't mean that become a content creator like me, but try to make sure that you're active on LinkedIn. Confidence, obviously, if you have a great brand, if you're getting interview calls, it will help you to get noticed. It will help your confidence, and you will be always job ready. You might not feel that I'm not getting interview calls, and if anything happens within your company, I mean, layoff, firing, anything happens, then you're always having a great network and you are always job ready. Networking tool, I think networking is one of the most important thing. And the reason why I wanted to touch on this topic is because as a recruiter, I have been reached out by job seekers from morning to night. But the problem is the way people reach out. If you're sending a message like, hi, Nikita, hello, Nikita, or can you get me a job? Can you help me find a job? I'm looking for a job. So that is something not the right way, because LinkedIn is a very professional network or a website, and you need to find a proper way to reach out. So I would like to share some like, can I show the next slide first, then I can come back. Yeah, so these are some of the messages which I got in the past, and these messages stood out. And the reason is because these people took some time, first of all, to go through my profile. Because as a recruiter, a lot of people might say this thing that recruiters never reply back, recruiters ghost us, we never get response. And it's fine, it's normal, because not everyone you are messaging, they will reply back. And I have also been in the same boat in the past. But make sure that what is the message you are sending. So if you're sending a message like, as I said, hi Nikita, hello, or get me a job or whatever, then obviously recruiters will never reply back to you. But if you're sending a message, taking some time, going through their profile, checking out the roles they're hiring for, and even if they're not hiring for the relevant role you're looking for, then you can go to the website of the company which they are working for. Like for example, Uber, you can go to the career page and check out the current roles, and then go back to the same recruiter and be like, hey Nikita, I saw that you are working with Uber and I checked out that this is the current role which is open, relevant to my profile, and this is why I think my profile is relevant to this role, and this is my updated resume. I would love to connect, or if it would be great if you can connect me with someone who is hiring for the same role, because as a recruiter I know internally that who is hiring for that role, or can you refer me for this role. So there are multiple ways you can reach out, but this message clearly shows that you have done your homework, you are doing your own research, and you're not just reaching out randomly. So there's a really proper reason or a way that getting a response matters if you have the right way of reaching out. And on top of it, one more thing is, if recruiters are not responding, don't get overwhelmed or don't get disheartened. Start reaching out to hiring managers, like especially the people who are like at director level, manager level, partner level. And these are the people who have the ability to directly get you hired or refer you. So try to start reaching out directly to the hiring manager. So this is a tool which we have at Career Flow. If you want to find out recruiters and hiring managers who are hiring, you can go to the Career Flow website, search for this tool. You can type in different keywords like company name, location, skill, role, and then save query and search. When you click on find out who is hiring, it will actually populate a list of all the recruiters and hiring managers who are hiring for those keywords. And then you can use that and then reach out to them and be like, hey, I saw that you're hiring for this role. There was one more tip which I can give is, on LinkedIn, you can type hashtag hiring. You can go to the post section, then click on first connection or second connection, and it will list all the people who have posted that they are hiring. The second tip is, again, use the same hashtag hiring in the search engine, then click on the people section, and then again, first connection, second connection, third connection, and it will again list all the people who are actually hiring, and then you can reach out to them. So use these tips rather than blindly reaching out to the people who are not hiring for the roles you're looking for. Last but not least, we would like to help everyone. Like I saw today, 100+ folks are looking for job opportunities. So if you're looking for any help, we do have some freemium tools on top of our free tools. So if you're looking for help, you can use this Factora code, and we're happy to give 20% discount. Thanks again for having me.
Okay, I think Allegra is coming back up too, and we will start to get to some Q&A. So I'm just going to jump right in. For remote companies, how do salary requirements apply in terms of location? So I don't know if, Kelsey, if you have a thought there.
Yeah, I'll say between my clients, I think this is like getting decided in real time. I think this is like still being decided by companies. And it's been an interesting 3 years, to be honest, but an interesting year, because I think a lot of folks that would be making this decision are also, their teams have been downsized. And so I think it's a totally valid question for you to ask the recruiter specifically. But a reminder, I tend to work with early stage startups. Nikita, do you see with y'all's partners, do you see any more predominating trends?
Yeah, I mean, I think I will agree to what Liz, to Kelsey's point in terms of the jobs, the salary part.
Great. Brooke is asking, do you have a good response if the recruiter keeps pushing for a number? I think this was in reference to like that first initial call you have with them.
Yeah, I can answer that. So if recruiters are pushing you, first of all, it's fine because that's their job. They have to get out the number. But again, like, don't just give them the number right away. Do your own research. In fact, what you can do is, like, you can go to LinkedIn, you can search for people who are alumni for that company. You can send them a message. Don't ask them their salaries, but you can ask them like, what can I expect? And then you can reach out to recruiter and be like, hey, I would love to share this range. This is also a good tip which I've tried in the past and it has worked.
Great. What are your thoughts on cover letters? Are they a waste of time or valuable personal branding tool?
Cover letters are not waste of time. So cover letter, don't think of cover letter as like something you have to additionally share or do it. See of it cover letter perspective is like you can use the same material what you have written in the cover letter when you're reaching out as well. And then on top of it, if you're reaching out through email for a referral, then also you can use the same write-up. So that write-up can help you in multiple ways. So think of that perspective, and there are still companies out there which makes cover letters as compulsory thing in your application. So that's part of it.
We do an annual survey with our hiring managers about what they're looking at the most. I saw another question here about portfolios and sample work. Ours ranked LinkedIn, resume, sample work up here, and cover letters about like neutral. And so some of them care, but the majority are a lot more interested in seeing the body of work you have to present.
Is it helpful to put open to work on your LinkedIn profile, or does that look bad? I think there was a couple other questions in here, being concerned about updating your LinkedIn settings so recruiters know you're available, but not tipping off your current employer.
Yeah, so in that case, in open to work, there is an option to just make it open to recruiters. Don't make it public. So if you are like not wanted to share it with everyone, like if your manager, if your team members are there in your LinkedIn profile, add it. Or if you don't want to publicly show it, then if you just show it only to recruiters and hiring manager, that option is there. Then when as a recruiter, I'm using LinkedIn Recruiter, and if I'm using open to work as one of my what should I say, selective options, then I will see your profile. Obviously there are multiple other things as well, but use that part of it and don't make it public.
Great. How do you stand out when some jobs have 200 plus applications within the first 24 hours?
I think standing out, 200 applicants or 500 applicants or 1,000, it should not matter, because if you're standing out from the crowd in terms of matching with the job description, you're making an impact through your profile. If your LinkedIn profile is updated, and as I said, if you are already done the networking, if you've already reached out recruiter or hiring manager who's hiring for that role, then you have done your own homework, and I don't think so that it will make any problem that 200 candidates have already applied for that role. And a lot of times it also happens that internally they let the role open. I don't know for what, but companies let the role open for multiple days, and that's why it shows more application, but they're not able to find the right candidate for the role.
Great, thank you. I have an assumption that you lose leverage and power when you're not currently working. I am so concerned about taking a pay cut in my next role. What recommendation do you have for someone impacted by a prior layoff, or they took a few months off of work?
For me, really where I see like the loss of leverage there is I'm seeing a lot of particularly women like lose their self-confidence in this period. It's like they're not I think that I blame it very much like too many of us are guilty of wrapping our identity into our work, right? And like our trade becomes our identity. And so the leverage gets lost in like advocating for yourself fully in the way that you are so awesome and deserve to. That's more the loss of leverage I see than the length of time or a gap.
Yep. I can add quickly one thing, so career gaps are normalized because at least from last 3 years or 4 years since COVID happened, because everyone knows that, and especially for women, because a lot of women have themselves voluntarily left their jobs, and it's a data also out there on Google that so many people have left their jobs, and the reason was because they want to support their family, especially in the COVID time. So career gaps are fine, but just have a story attached with it. Like a lot of women have reached out and we have helped through Career Flow. We just have to showcase and fill that gap, saying that, okay, this is why I took a break. And while I was taking a break, because technology is going to go upgraded, like AI has, like if you left a job, like let's say last year, and now you're trying a job again. So try to come up with something where you are managing and saying that, no, now I'm working on my skills. And like, let's say I'm doing a course on AI, or I'm trying to learn the generative AI. And the reason is because obviously a lot of AI job opportunities are there, and every company is using AI. So try to work in that direction, I don't think so company should be saying that we will give you less salary because you have a career gap.
How do you deal with,
I'm seeing in the comments, sorry, I'm gonna chime in on that. I'm seeing in the comments people saying that they have that issue where their imposter syndrome creeps up if there's a break, or if they're even maybe trying to apply for a job which they don't feel as qualified for. And I wish I could take imposter syndrome away from every single woman on this call. I can't, but if you could just try and channel your inner white male who applies for jobs that he's maybe done 30% of the bullets for before and is going to ask for the top of the salary band. That's what I always force myself to do. And like Kelsey was sharing with a friend who she thought was really strong at negotiating salary, I would leave those meetings and shed a little tear too, but it's so worth it.
100%.
Someone else is asking that sometimes the applications require you to put a salary amount in the field. What do you suggest women do in that instance? Any thoughts?
I think go with the data. I think that's like why we have to go do that homework and go look at those, look in the different states, look at the different databases. And like, we're not just shooting our shot, just trying to get $1 bazillion, right? It's like, it's based in a framework and logic. So I think go do your research and then you should feel comfortable with the number. I might be a little bit of an outlier. I'm very salary forward in conversations. Like as a recruiting company, we lead with salary for you to respond to. To me, it's really important that that feels good to everybody. So we might be a little bit of an outlier in our approach, but for me, it's let's get that hierarchy of needs met in the early conversations. So I think as a candidate, that's how I would approach it, but open to other thoughts on that too, Nikita.
Yep, definitely like rely on the data, but also on the same hand, like it's a very normal practice in any of the companies that women is comparatively paid less as compared to like male counterparts, and you just have to go back to them. And as I said, like this statement, because I have myself undervalued multiple times in my career and always felt that I'm not relevant with the role, or maybe I'm not fitting in with the role with my skills and everything else. Just don't think about it. Like think from the perspective that you are valuable, you are unique, and you are like, you can negotiate. So that is where when you see that number, don't think that, okay, I don't think so I have capability to have 200, 300K salary. If someone else can get that salary, then you can get that salary for sure.
Okay, one last question here, and then we will be at time. What are your thoughts on extensive interview processes? In this example, she saw a minimum of a 7-hour commitment from a candidate, not including the take-home project. She's just curious what trends you guys might be seeing with so much competition in the market.
I am pretty fired up about this conversation. One thing we're really working on is how can we expedite this process and take a lot of the headache out. So we've really moved to video format. So you're able to produce highlight reels that we can go share with the hiring managers, or vice versa. They can tell you about their roles, trying to cut down on it, because I think it is so much unpaid labor, particularly of demographics that are already doing a lot of additional labor. And so I think it's scary to hire. And I think right now there's a lot of analysis paralysis because there is such great talent on the market, but I think it's inefficient, and I don't think it's respectful of people's time, is my opinion.
Yes, it is not, but companies still follow that. I mean, all the big tech companies have at least 6-7 rounds of interviews, like with one day having 3 to 4 rounds back to back. I have myself scheduled it, so I know the process. But takeaway assignments, definitely they are not something which should be done free of cost. So you can go back, and if they are really, really long, and if you really need hours and hours to do them, then definitely you can go back and be like, hey, I don't want to do any unpaid labor, and it's not relevant that you are asking me to do it and spend hours without hiring me.
Awesome.
I just want to thank our speakers. There were so many tips passed around, and you all provided so many incredible free resources. Definitely check out Ladybird Talent's resource stack. She showed some of the spreadsheets they have for comparing job offers, salary negotiation, scripts, And then definitely Nikita's Career Flow AI. They have a bunch of free access to that tool that is unbelievable. She walked me through it. And then if you want to buy it just for a few months while you're in your job search, use code Factora to get a discount. We work really hard at Factora to help women get more access to financial knowledge and empowerment. So really grateful you all took an hour out of your day, and to be respectful of your time, we will let you get back to your lives. We will be sending out the recording, and yes, we appreciate you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Liz.